Welcome to the Thalmor Library. I have heard you have come in seeking information and knowledge. I mean, don't we all? It's why I pretty much live in this library, reading anything and everything concerning Tamriel and the events that have occurred. I am sure you are aware of the Thalmor and its rise to being a great power in all of Tamriel in the beginning of the Fourth Era. Of course, this isn't the only time the Thalmor has risen to power, with them having a presence in at least two other iterations in the past, making this one the third Aldemary Dominion. I could talk about our rise to power, especially through the Oblivion Crisis that saw us gain more political power as we repelled Mehrunes Dagon's invasion of Daedra and protected the Somerset Isles. But I don't want to keep you here for too long, and not all of it is relevant to our conversation. In fact, we gained so much power in our popularity in our own homeland that we decided to expand our influence to Tamriel. What can I say? With the Empire at such disarray, it was very easy pickings for us during the event of the Great War. We were even able to capture their capital city in Cyrodiil. Sure, the Imperial army was able to bounce back and drive us out, but we could tell they were depleted and could not hold another invasion from us. So they decided to come to terms with the White Gold Concordat, a treaty that pretty much had them accept terms in order to keep their little throne. While we were clearly more superior in strength, we could not deny the importance and influence of the Empire, and with other provinces providing resistance, keeping the Empire at bay, and doing nothing would give us a chance to focus our attention to more resistant provinces. Damn red gods. In my opinion, we could have easily squashed those soldiers and claimed full control of the Imperial city, but alas, it is not my decision to make. Well, I could tell you more and more about this particular story when you can simply read about its events in books. However, I have something more interesting in mind. What if I told you that there was a possibility that the Empire could have prevented this from happening? And if they have been able to do so, how would that affected the rise of the Thalmor? It looks like I now have your attention. Please, have a seat, and I will tell you all about how this could have been possibly avoided. There is one person that could have helped the Empire resist the expansion and future invasions of the Thalmor, and it is not who you think. No, the person I speak of is one Chancellor Ocato. That name may not be of high importance, but he was once a member of the Elder Council during the Oblivion Crisis. While the Septim rulers at the time were the ones wearing the crown, the Elder Council would serve as advisors to the Emperor and make sure that the structure of the Imperial hierarchy was maintained. What surprises me though is that Ocato was born here in the Somerset Isles, so how he managed to climb the ranks, or even why he chose to join the Empire, is a surprise to me. As he became the Lord High Chancellor in the Elder Council during the events of this crisis, which meant that in the absence of the Emperor, he would essentially become the de facto ruler. Not only this, but he was also the Imperial's battle mage, meaning he is a very powerful person in his own right. I'm sure if he didn't care so much about laws and pursued his own ambitions, I'm sure he would have been a great asset for the Dominion. It still disappoints me thinking about it. Of course, that is an easy way for people to distrust him, as many would start to come with these conspiracies in their minds, such as him using this chaos in order to gain more power, and eventually take the throne for himself. While Cyrodiil was able to defeat the mythic Dawn and Mehrunes Dagon during this crisis, it was at the cost of their once future Emperor Martin Septim, who had no choice but to sacrifice himself in order to achieve this goal. This could have been Ocato's chance to maximize his potential, but what did he do? Once again, he decided to abide by the laws of the Empire and hold the throne until a new emperor was crowned, and effectively he was acting emperor in the meanwhile. Without a leader from the Septim dynasty, the Empire was in a weakened state, and at the same time, the Dominion gained more popularity, and we used this opportunity to strike and expand our influence. However, in order to do this, we had to assassinate Ocato and get him out of the way before we could get our plans into motion. By this point, you're probably asking, wasn't the Empire already weakened? Couldn't the Dominion have not been able to successfully invade the city without assassinating this target? Actually, possibly not. We could not take that chance. We needed High Chancellor Ocato gone. He is a high elf born in the Somerset Isles. Before the Thalmor gained influence, they were seen as a radical minority faction in the Isles only. As someone who was born in the Isles, he knew all about the faction and their mission goal, meaning if he got any word of the rise of the Thalmor, he would have immediately mobilized forces to resist our advance and allocate all resources against us. Let's play with the idea that we failed with our assassination attempt to him. Would that have changed the landscape of the start of the Fourth Era and foiled the plans for the Thalmor? As much as I don't want to admit it, it would have made a difference. While some may be divided on the intentions of Ocato, we could not deny that he was the Empire's Imperial Battle Mage and was the acting Emperor, which means he would not have only been able to mobilize a strong enough resistance force, but he would have been able to unite the provinces under the banner of the Empire, possibly propelling himself to the throne. However, due to the nature of this sudden change, we wouldn't be surprised that even if they managed to defeat us, there would still be discourse amongst this new united front. There will still be those who will be suspicious of Ocato's sudden rise as leader, even though that was the governing structure that was established when the Empire was created, and would suspect him due to his race. This would likely open up new rebellions and new wars, and Ocato, in his desire to follow the laws of the Empire, would still have a hard time convincing that his intentions are pure. While we believe we would have been strong enough to defeat this empire, it would have been a lot more difficult, so it's a good thing that it didn't come to that. In fact, some can argue that we saved the empire from a possible rise to the throne by someone who was unworthy of sitting on it in the first place. Only dragonborn emperors can claim that title. But it matters not, for the Thalmor are now the greatest power in all of Tamriel. Just the thought of our mighty faction being beaten by a rival empire led by one of our own kind, it would be quite the irony, but not one that I would have wanted to see unfold, so we did what we had to do. That was to assassinate Ocato 15 years after the turn of the Fourth Era, and remove him from the equation for Thalmor domination. Now you see how this rise could have been prevented. Oh, would you look at that? Right on time too. As the story continues, you hear footsteps coming from surrounding areas. Suddenly, elven mages and soldiers surround the library with their weapons and staffs pointed towards you. You didn't possibly think that I would reveal all that information and then set you free, did you? While I do like to explore the concepts of what-ifs, that's all they are. And the Thalmor are here to stay and influence the rule of Tamriel for generations to come. There is nothing you can do about it. And at the snap of the fingers, flashing lights cover the interior of the library as the screen cuts to black.